Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and we're back here today with another edition of Budget Magic, and man do we have a sweet one this week. This one, this deck is super awesome. It's been really fun to play. It's been really powerful actually, put up a great record, so I'm just really excited about it. We're playing a deck I'm calling Mardu Threaten. 54 bucks in the paper world, 34 ticks online, so really cheap, one of the cheapest budget magics we've had in a little bit here. The cheapest one so far for Oath of the Gatewatch standard, and this deck has been super effective, and I just really like the synergy of it. So basically the way this deck works is we steal our opponent's creatures, which takes advantage of the fact that tons of people are playing these big Eldrazi in standard, Reality Smashers, Thought Not Seers, World Breakers, Ulamogs, but also Siege Rhinos and whatever other creatures. But we steal our opponent's creatures, and then we attack our opponent with their own creatures, and then, before we give the creatures back, which is how threaten effects work, we kill the creature in a way that benefits us. So anyway, let's talk about it. First off, we have a ton of threatens. These are the cards that make the deck possible. We have this like critical mass of good threaten effects in standard right now, mostly thanks to the printing of Eldrazi Obligator. But we have 4 Jeering Instigators and 4 Eldrazi Obligators. These are really important to the deck because they are threaten effects that also come attached to bodies, so we can attack with them. Jeering Instigator is a 2/1 for 2, but we can play it as a morph face down, so a 2/2 for 3, and then we flip it up for 1 in a red, and when it flips up, we gain control of one of our opponent's creatures until end of turn. It gains haste and untap, so we get to attack with it. Eldrazi Obligator is even better. It's a 3/1 with haste for 3, but then it has this weird Eldrazi kicker thing, so when we cast it, we can pay 1 in a colorless and gain control of a creature until end of turn. Again, gains haste, untaps it, all that stuff. But with Eldrazi Obligator, we can play it, we're getting 3 damage from the Obligator, plus whatever damage we can get in with the creature we steal. So those are the 2 key threaten effects in the deck. We also have 4 Active Treason. Pretty much the same thing, but without a creature body attached to it. Active Treason, just 2 in a red, sorcery, gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. Then we have 1 Mob Rule. Card's not very good, but it's really flavorful, and I kind of wanted to try it as a one-of. 6 mana sorcery, choose 1. You either gain control of all creatures with power 4 or greater until end of turn, you untap them, they gain haste, or you gain control of all creatures with power 3 or less until end of turn. So in theory, you can steal your opponent's entire board, and we could live the dream maybe and take an, I don't know, an Ulamog and a Kozilek and the same with 1 card, hit our opponent for 20 damage. So it's pretty inconsistent, but it's sweet in theory and pretty fun. So those are our main threaten effects. We also have 2 Turn Against. Stuck this one on its own side because it's set apart from the other threatens because it's instant speed. So it's 5 mana, which is a lot. Has Devoid, not relevant. Gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap it, it gains haste. But the big deal is it's instant speed. So you can use this one defensively. Our opponent attacks us with a couple creatures. We can turn against one of them, gain control of it, untap it, use it to block, and get a 2-for-1 with turn against. So it's really powerful in that sense, but we can also just use it like our other threatens to steal and smash our opponent with their own creature. So obviously, step 1 of the deck, steal our opponent's stuff with all these threaten effects. Step 2 is, those cards are good, and they're fine as aggressive cards where you just steal a creature and get his damage, but they're even better if we can just sack the creatures after we steal them. So the idea is we steal them with our threaten effects, and then we also have in standard a critical mass of cheap sacrifice creatures. So we can steal them, and with these creatures on the battlefield, we steal our opponent's Reality Smasher, attack our opponent with it, and then we just sack it so our opponent doesn't get it back, which turns our threaten effects into real removal spells and damage attached to them, which is just crazy. So we got 3 Eily Eternal Pilgrim, a white and a black, you get a 2/3 with Death Touch. You can pay 1 and sacrifice another creature to gain life equal to the creature's toughness. And then it has another ability that I doubt we will ever activate, but you can pay 1 a white and a black and sacrifice a creature to Vindicate, exile target non-land permanent. Activate this ability only if you have 10 or more life more than your starting life total. So if we're at 30 life, we can use Eily as a removal spell by sacrificing a creature. We also have 4 Nantucko Husk, just a 2/2 for 3, sacrifice a creature, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And then 4, Butcher of the Hordes, 5/4 flying for 1, a red, a white, and a black, so 4 mana total. Can sacrifice a creature and it gains our choice of Vigilance, Lifelink, or Haste until end of turn. So we have a ton of ways to steal our opponent's creatures, then a ton of ways to sacrifice them for cheap or free. We also have a couple spells. These ones are really tricky. Collateral damage is like a lightning bolt, 3 damage to a creature or player, instant speed, but we also have to sack a creature to do it. And then an Altar's Reap, 2 mana, you get to draw 2 cards, but it has an additional cost, we have to sack a creature. One of the things that happens sometimes with this deck is, say we have a Nantucket Husk on the battlefield, we use one of our Threaten effects to steal our opponent's creature. What our opponent most likely will want to do is kill our Nantucket Husk in response to the Threaten effect, so we can't sack their creature. Well, collateral damage and Altar's Reap give us this tricky way of still sacking the creature, even if our opponent kills our sack outlet in response to the Threaten effect. So that's why they're in their deck. Plus, I mean, a little card advantage and a Lightning Bolt never hurt, so. Then we have a bunch of other stuff. We have 3 Fiery Impulse, just early game removal. Our Threaten effects are much better when they're hitting big creatures, so we'd rather not have to spend them taking our opponent's 1-drops, so Fiery Impulse cleans up that stuff. Ruinous Path, our Threaten effects don't hit Planeswalkers. That's one thing they do not hit. So Ruinous Path is mostly there as a way to kill a Planeswalker, although our deck's not bad at killing Planeswalkers because we can use like Eldrazi Obligator, steal our opponent's token that they made with Gideon, ally of Zendikar, attack Gideon with Obligator and the token, kill Gideon. So we do have some ways to kill Planeswalkers naturally, but Ruinous Path is a nice hedge for Planeswalker heavy decks. 2 Outpost Siege, basically there to generate card advantage. Usually set on cons mode. Beginning of our upkeep, we exile the top card of our library. Until end of turn we can play it. And then 2 Murderous Cut, just some more unconditional removal. So we want the critical mass, like I said, to be able to keep killing things. Mana base wise, 4 Battlefield Forge, 4 Caves of Koilos. These are dual lands that also provide the colorless mana we need for Eldrazi Obligator's Kicker. 4 Evolving Wilds, 2 Smoldering Marsh, 1 of each gain land, Scoured Barrens, a Windscarred Crag, a Bloodfell Caves. 4 Nomad Outposts, the Mardu Threaten, and then 1 of each basic, a Mountain, a Plains, and a Swamp. Seems to have worked out pretty well mana base wise. I did want to mention we have 4 Evolving Wilds, only 3 basics, so make sure to use the Evolving Wilds wisely. If we have an Evolving Wilds in hand and we already have a couple basics on the battlefield, we probably want to prioritize using that Evolving Wilds to get a basic before we draw the basic and our Evolving Wilds becomes a dead card. Sideboard wise, 3 Collateral Damage, 3 Duress, 1 Fiery Impulse, 2 Hallowed Moonlight. So more removal, some more tricky sack outlets with collateral damage for matchups where our opponent might be able to kill our creature sack outlets. 3 Duresses for control matchups. 2 Hallowed Moonlights, those come in mostly to fight against Rally the Ancestor decks. Then 2 Virulent Plagues. Go wide token strategies are pretty annoying. Threatening our way through a bunch of 1/1 or 2/2 tokens just isn't really realistic, so Virulent Plague is an answer to those situations. 2 more Outpost Siege, really good in control matchups just to keep generating card advantage. We can go up to 4 of them. Crux of Fate, kind of like Virulent Plague, another way to deal with go wide situations. And a single Infinite Obliteration. Since our deck wants to steal Eldrazi's more than kill them, we're not playing that many Infinite Obliteration, but I think it's still a nice hedge. Kozilek, for example, is annoying, because if our opponent resolves a Kozilek, they can counter our Threaten effects and kind of shut down that plan, so it's there as a way to preemptively answer Kozilek for the most part. Anyway, that's the deck. Like I said, it's been pretty successful this week. It's been a blast to play, and I think it fits in a really good place in the format at the moment, just because people are playing these big Eldrazi and a ton of big creatures, and our deck lines up really well with that. Not only do we kill those creatures efficiently, we get in damage while we're doing it, and there's nothing sweeter than like stealing an Ulamog and killing our opponent with their own Ulamog. Like, what could be better than that? There's not much. Anyway, make sure to check out the website, mtggoldfish.com. That's where you'll find the article for this budget magic. Tons of other great content, decks, prices, metagame strategy, pretty much anything and everything you could want related to Magic the Gathering. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to click the subscribe button that's about to pop up on the bottom of your screen to keep up to date on all the latest and greatest in video content from mtggoldfish.com. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy our Mardu Threaten videos. I think they turned out pretty sweet, and I will talk to you soon.